Frank Scagliano throws the ball in the air. We're underway. Van Horn controlled the tip for the Utes.
Stanford man-to-man, Sean, and a little reach in on Brevin Knight early.
Very quickly, the game's first foul on Brevin Knight. 6 seconds into the ball game. His teammate Chris Weems said if Duncan is the best player and Van Horn's the second best, then Brevin Knight is the third best player in the country.
And there's the
Miller missed the first shot.
Second best on Utah. Miller, who loves to post up.
Rebound by Tim Young. Knight explosive to the bucket. Wild shot. Rebounded by Van Horn. Doliak running the floor, but the pass from Miller is over his head, and a sloppy start for both teams.
Well, Rick Majerus says the running Utes is a misnomer. They want to control the break, make good decisions. That was not one of them. But a big fella.
Coach Majerus says his team has not been able to get over this hump, meaning the Sweet 16. They've been here twice under Majerus prior to this year and have lost on both occasions.
That's that pick and roll. You'll see it at different points by Stanford, and how Utah plays it is very important.
Van Horn trying to post up Sauer. He has the size advantage on Sauer. He got poked free to Ben Caton.
Problem is out here trying to guard him for Sauer.
Van Horn, a three-point miss. Young, another rebound. Still no score a minute into the game. The pull-up by Arthur Lee, and the rebound by Miller. Miller's a junior from Los Angeles. Van Horn will try another three. And a foul on the rebound action on Michael Doliak as he collided with Young. 3 boards on the defensive end already for Tim Young.
Rick Majerus has got Van Horn away from the hole, Sean. Basically, there isn't the ability to trap or focus on him. He's not going to get banged around. He's had 2 good looks. He does possess a great stroke. Came up empty on both.
Both teams 0 for 3 from the floor. No score, a minute and a half in. Young, a left-hander, long, shooting over Doliak. Another rebound for Van Horn.
With solid post defense.
Miller scores the first bucket of the game. He sent the defender Lee to the deck without a whistle.
With the kiss at the end, pretty good defensive position. Now, Brevin Knight likes to get into the seam. Probably better than any tailor you go to, I might add. He's got to dominate a little bit with the ability to dribble.
Teams look a little bit nervous here in the first couple of minutes. Understandably so. Poor shooting and turnovers. The story of the first 2 minutes plus.
And this is their post rubs, and they get Hansen on the hole. Weems is excellent, Sean, using the big guys down on the box to square himself up for a corner jumper. 2 different personalities, wouldn't you say, Mike Montgomery and Rick Majerus?
Mike Montgomery been kind of overshadowed by the other 3 coaches at this site, Rick Pitino and Phil Martelli of St. Joseph's, colorful characters themselves.
Well,
as is Rick Majerus.
He's colorful as well. Just a little more subdued.
Knight got stuck in the air and threw it away.
Talking about Montgomery, Sean, he would remind you of an admissions officer. And I guess Rick Majerus might make you think of a guy in charge of the athletic fields on the campus.
Doliak shut off by Young. Caton stepped inside the three-point line and rattled out to Sauer. Made a couple of clutch shots at the end of the win over Wake Forest. For those of you expecting to see Clemson in Minnesota, we'll get you out to the Midwest Regional in San Antonio shortly. Tip time set for 7:55 Eastern.
And Sean, everybody's staying at home on the post people, so they should be doing a nice job getting out on the shooter.
Weems out of control, but the pass was deflected out by Utah. We're more than 3 minutes in now, and Stanford is still scoreless. It's 2-0 Utah. 6 possessions for Stanford without a bucket.
Brevin Knight works himself into a game, Sean. Good first half, generally scintillating second half. Gets to feel the opposition.
Shot clock at 5. Sauer, the miss. Rebounded by Miller. He is a good rebounder from the guard spot at 4.6 per game. That's the 3rd highest rebounding total on the team.
And Sauer pushing there as Van Horn really does a great job presenting himself, begging for the ball. They go box to box on their early offense, like to dump down to him.
Well, against Tim Duncan, they used a number of very big bodies effectively to bang the Wake Forest All-American center, but Van Horn presents different matchup problems.
Well, you got to be pretty powerful as they get the easy deuce at the end of that to keep him out of there.
4 points for Andre Miller. He has all 4 points in the game. More than 3.5 minutes played. Stanford is still looking for its first point.
They're switching out on Knight.
Lee fell down, lost the dribble. Third turnover committed by the Cardinal. And the first substitute of the game is Jordy McTavish, a freshman from Salmon Arms, British Columbia. He's in for Miller. I didn't know Salmon had arms.
Well, I haven't recruited that area. I'm sure George Radley's been up there, or at least gets the papers from that area. But he can shoot it deep.
That's 250 miles north of Vancouver. You have to have quite a recruiting budget just to get up there.
A little motion in their offense, a lot of screening. Van Horn does a nice job screening and then stepping to the ball.
Still 4-0 Utah. McTavish guarded by Knight. Shot clock at 5. Van Horn over Sauer. Doliak the offensive rebound. Young controls. It looked like Arthur Lee reached in to help deflect that ball out of the hands of Doliak on the putback.
Pretty pass.
And finally, Stanford is on the board. It took 4 minutes and 35 seconds. Tim Young, the sophomore from Santa Cruz, California, with the first bucket.
Brevin Knight plays all, Sean. Gives it up early. Not concerned. Doesn't have to find a facility to make the normal pass, the one necessary. Understands where to give it, when to give it.
4-2 Utah, and Stanford to play it in. Andre Miller is back in the game. McTavish back on the bench for the Utes. Young working on Hanno Metala, the freshman from Finland, number 13, who's just checked in to give Doliak a breather.
And he's going to be a terrific performer. That time it was Sauer with the pick and stay. A little different. They'll hit the jumper back to Sauer.
Van Horn with 3 rebounds and a bad pass. Payton trying to feed Miller, who was looking to post up the smaller guards, but the pass didn't connect. And
the one thing, the reason it didn't connect was Knight did a great job forcefully pushing him, locked him into place, and then the errant toss.
They list Knight at 5'10", and that is probably a little bit generous.
Those Catholic school programs, I give him a few inches. You see the whole prep days.
Chris Weems the save, but it wound up in the hands of Payton. For those of you expecting to see Clemson in Minnesota, we'll be heading right out there in a few minutes for the 7:55 Eastern Time tip. And an offensive foul called on Payton. First foul on Payton, the third called on the Utes here in the first half. Utah has scored on only 2 of 12 trips on offense.
And you can see they're concerned about Caden. He's the guy that lights it up, gives them a little energy, can make the deep shot.
6 minutes in, it's 4-2. Stanford has scored on 1 of 10 trips, now 1 of 11. The rebound by Van Horn of the Young miss.
And Metal trying to post up, did a great job defensively.
Jeff Johnson is in for Utah, number 35, a freshman from Murray, Utah.
He's got a game in here. If he caught it, he can turn and beat guys.
Van Horn, again guarded by Sauer. And Van Horn beat him that time. First bucket for Keith Van Horn, a senior from Diamond Bar, California.
Well, he missed the outside shot. It's still able to get to the rim.
They have to use bigger bodies than Sauer to guard him. They're worried about the matchup outside. Sauer, the offensive rebound, then stripped by Johnson, but he couldn't control it, and it'll be Stanford ball.
What makes him such a valuable weapon is not only he can shoot it outside, but he can handle a lot of grace in the delivery at the end, but just a sound understanding of how to beat a guy.
David Mosley off the Stanford bench as Chris Weems gets a breather. And Van Horn sits for the first time as Doliak is back in for Utah. It's Knight and Lee with Young, Sauer, and Mosley for Stanford. That's a three-point try that wouldn't go for Knight. Knight has it back.
Miller's been tough to keep containing him. You got to keep him outside.
The Utes lead 6-2. More than 7 minutes played. Tough shot by Sauer. Falling away off the foot of Mosley. And Utah will play it in. Another substitute for Stanford. Mark Madsen, number 45, a freshman at 6'8", 235 pounds, is checked in. And a big part of the improved play of the Cardinal at the end of the season, the development of Madsen, according to Coach Montgomery.
Well, he's a 21-year-old freshman away on a Mormon mission. Big physical kind of performer. Can bang people. A little tougher for him guarding people this deep.
Miller, tough shot from the free throw line. He went in after his own miss, but Young cleared the board. His 5th rebound. He's the tallest player in Stanford history at 7'1". Bad pass. Intercepted by David Jackson, the freshman from Portland, Oregon.
And that was a great job pushing Young out a little deeper on the floor.
Goliath can make that shot. Not that time. Johnson, the offensive rebound. Passed off as he stumbled to the deck.
A roller.
And that hook shot well off. Medela crashed the boards. Out of bounds. Last touched by Utah. Timeout. Still a defensive struggle. More than 8 minutes played. 8 points on the board combined.
He's very much at home. Down underneath. Miller uses the big guys when he pushes the floor to hide his dribble and explode.
Goliath fouled on the way up by Young. Tom Lopes ruling it was before the shot. Goliath will not go to the line. It's the first foul on Young, who fouled out in 14 minutes in the game against Wake Forest. But as Rick Majerus notes, they have about 25 fouls they can use in the post, but they're big bodies.
Yeah, I think he'd like to keep Young on the floor if he has his preference. How about Van Horn's ability to find people on the box at that 6'9" frame?
Van Horn over Madsen. Looks like Madsen might have the matchup with Van Horn now that Sauer is on the bench for Stanford. Sauer's done an excellent job defensively.
He went right outside with him, too. He's had some great looks, just not stroking it.
Stanford fortunate that 9 minutes into the game, they have 2 points, and yet they trailed by only 4. Team's looking very tight. Mosley, an awful shot over Johnson. The air ball caught by Van Horn.
Now, Sean, do you think it's tight or preparation? A little combination, maybe? I think they both know what each one's going to do.
Well, if they prepared, it was only on the defensive end.
Oh, you are caustic. Pretty look.
Young. He has both Stanford buckets, and it's 6-4 Utah, nearly midway through the half.
Sean, that's the one thing you can't prepare for is dribble penetration. Defense breaks down. All of a sudden, it's a new wrinkle that the defense can't handle.
Stanford is 2 of 14 shooting now. Utah 3 of 14. Each team with 5 turnovers.
Very active on their post duck-ins, both teams.
Shot clock under 10. Johnson, strong drive, and he gets the bounce on the layup.
And a great job by Miller. Held off. Brevin Knight couldn't get over to help out.
Johnson's brother, Britton, a 6'10" player in high school this year in Utah, is coming to play for the Utes next season. He's considered one of the top big men in the country in high school basketball. Tough shot wouldn't go for Weems. Madsen missed a short one. The rebound by Van Horn. 7 rebounds for Van Horn.
A double screen.
And the three-pointer goes for David Jackson.
Now you run that passing game, you put a little wrinkle. That's the first double screen they've run. Gets a good open look.
Jackson doesn't score much, averages 3.5 per game. The Utes lead 11-4. Knight fouled before the shot.
Well, I'd like to take credit for Brevin Knight's ability, but he was too young when he was in the Seton Hall gym when I was coaching. He learned this all on his own, getting into the teeth, and he just draws the attention, sucks the defense, and can deliver with the best of them. And this is the double screen, sets up the Jackson jumper. Any little changes after those first 10 minutes of feeling out sometimes throws a defense off.
Rich Jackson, a senior co-captain. He and Knight, the only seniors on the team. Into the game, we're in 24. And a travel called on Madsen. Pete Van Elswyk has also come off the Cardinal bench. He's number 40. 6 turnovers committed by Montgomery's troops. 11-4 Utah. More than 11 minutes played here in San Jose. This is the first trip ever to the Sweet 16 for Stanford. You might be wondering how that's possible. They won the national championship in 1942, but back then only 8 teams made the field.
And I was not doing games in those days either. Brevin Knight gets number 2. Tough match for Brevin. Size, strength down in the box. And Miller goes right to the post-up.
Van Horn wide open for 3, and they cannot allow that to happen. The Cardinal, as Van Horn's a 40% shooter from 3.
And Andre Miller with a great screen setting up the big guy for the look.
14-4 Utah. Madsen. Good pass. He had trouble with it. Van Horn, the block shot.
Now that's 2 Madsen should have converted. 2 good looks to him.
Team leading 35th block for Van Horn, showing his game.
Putting on a little bit of a show right now, getting him in the open floor. Can't get help. He's got great drop step moves.
7 points, 8 rebounds, and the block for Van Horn.
He's playing so well, Rick Majerus hasn't thought of food in the last couple of minutes.
Knight, the runner. One-handed shot from the elbow. First bucket for Knight. He played collegiately at Seton Hall Prep. His dad was a fine player, Melvin Knight, at Seton Hall, and coached at the Hall under a fellow named Bill Raftery. Brevin used to hang around the Seton Hall gym as a youngster. Bill Raftery would screw him off the court so he could have practice. Jackson, nice handoff to Madsen. And Madsen will go to the line to shoot 2.
Sean McDonough, Van Horn is stepping up so well. Both ends of the floor. We've seen some jump shots, but right here, Madsen thinks he's got a good look. If he caught it cleanly, he could have put it up on the correct side. But Madsen, one of those guys that will continue to plug. Here's the great drop step. He gets back defensively. He spaces away either on the spin or from the box, a little bit like Larry Bird. And I don't mean he's as good as Larry Bird, but he possesses that ability to drift and still make shots.
Jordy McTavish back in. The foul is on Medela, his first. Madsen at the free throw line. He's a 60% free throw shooter.
One of 10 children, Sean. No wonder he's so tough, huh? Fighting around that dinner table every night. He's going to be a great player. I heard George Raveling.
With our panel of experts, Mike Krzyzewski, Clark Kellogg, and George Raveling. Utah leads in a tough physical game with 7:20 left in the first half. We're watching the Minnesota-Clemson game. Clemson with the ball right now in the white jerseys. And Mike Krzyzewski, if you're the coach in Minnesota, your team's playing perfectly right now.
Well, I love their poise. I think their veterans have taken over a lot of touches, and they're playing as a unit at a high, high level.
Minnesota on a 10-0 run right now, George Raveling.
Well, Clemson has a tempo to their liking, but defensively they're struggling right now. Minnesota's 6 for 6 from the field.
Clemson, a great defensive team, of course, Clark Kellogg, but they're hitting the threes early.
Well, that's what they're going to have to do. 20% in the first 2 tournament games from behind the three-point line. But I like Minnesota's ability to push the ball off defensive rebounds against a good physical half-court defensive team. One way to negate that is by getting out in transition and getting some easy scoring opportunities.
What they have to do, Clark, is keep that pushing going.
Right.
Because
I agree with
if they have to fight against Clemson's half-court defense,
it could be tough.
It could turn around.
Exactly. But with the guards they've got, Bobby Jackson, Eric Harris, Charles Thomas, I mean, again, this is a versatile, experienced team, and they're going to take what they want as well as take what's available.
Bobby Jackson has 8 points on the night so far. Minnesota on a 10-2 run now. And playing about as well as can be expected. #1 seed out in the Midwest. All right, let's take you back to Stanford, Utah, out in San Jose. Utah leads 19-7. 6:15 left in the first half. We'll see you a little later.
Gentlemen, the only scoring while you were looking at Clemson and Minnesota, three-pointer by Keith Van Horn from beyond the NBA line. He has 10 points and 8 rebounds here in the first half. Weems well off, and to follow the rebound action against Van Horn. He had the arm of Sauer hooked. First foul on Van Horn.
And Sean Sauer's dilemma on the other end is playing Van Horn, who posts him up, then drifts outside. And then he doesn't get the assistance necessary. So that's going to be a dilemma for Mike Montgomery. But they've got to find some wrinkles as Lee is now running the show at the point. He's going to be the guy, according to Mike, next year.
Sauer missed a three. Well, Utah has been playing outstanding defense, according to Coach Majerus. But Stanford, ordinarily a high-powered offense, averaging 81 points per game. That was second in the Pac-10 this year behind Arizona. Lee, the one-hander from the free throw line. First bucket for the sophomore from Los Angeles out of North Hollywood High School.
Very explosive, got his legs tangled up, able to knock it down, but good defense against Kate.
The crowd trying to help the Cardinal get back into this one, down by 10, 5.5 left in the half.
A passing game with a designated hitter. Here he is.
Top shot in traffic. Van Horn has 12. Well, they did a good job of limiting Tim Duncan. We say that, and he nearly had 20 points and 20 rebounds in the game, but he had to earn everything he got. They're not doing as good a job on Van Horn.
They can't, because he plays outside. You just see the ability to elevate at 6'9" over the smaller Sauer.
Young got his own rebound.
Had a perfect pass, too, as Sauer went down the lane. Didn't have vision on him.
6 points, 6 boards for Tim Young. Medela. Hansen inside. Miller again on the post up, score it. And Andre Miller will have a chance for a three-point play.
Well, you look at tape that jumps out at you, his ability down in the low post, complemented by Keith Van Horn. This is the dilemma that you mentioned. Duncan, they ran people at him, had double ups, but here, look at the ability to gather those long legs and knock it down. I mean, tough to defend, and then they go inside. A terrific performer. Look at the tapes. They love to give it to Miller. He can dominate bigger guys down in the box.
Miller finishes the three-point play. He has 7. And the Utah lead grows to 13 points. The largest advantage for the Utes, who have not trailed in this game.
There's their high-low. What a gamble with the big people, though.
Sauer nearly threw the pass into the basket. Young cleaned up the mess. Young sat out all of last year with back problems. Did participate last summer on the 22 and under USA basketball national team with Brevin Knight. That team was coached by Mike Montgomery. Medela. That was on miss. And he'll shoot. Near the conclusion of every NCAA tournament game, we will select a genuine Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Game from each team. To date, Chevrolet has contributed almost $6.5 million to the scholarship funds of America's colleges and universities.
Well, showing one of those interesting recruiting trips going to Finland. Rick Majerus, the only coach that went over there to see Hanna Medela. And to both of us, an unusual diet. Reindeer meat and a beverage or two of your choice. But that's what impressed him most, and I think in 2 more years he's going to have some talent performer. He can put it on the floor a little bit like Van Horn. He's got some range, good post-up, sound performer.
Rick Majerus said many schools called and wrote to Medela, but he thinks the reason he won the battle is because he was the only coach who made the trip, and that's a 7,000-mile trip from Salt Lake City to Finland. Van Horn, the rebound of the miss by Lee.
And Brevin Knight with the 2 fouls out. They can't control this guy. He's been tough, Miller. Andre to the goal.
9 for Andre Miller. He averages 9.5 per game, taking advantage of his size advantage on the smaller Stanford guards. Young, a 16-footer. Soft touch. And Tim Young has 10. Only one other 7-footer in Stanford history. Rich Kelly went on and played in the NBA.
I like the idea of keeping Brevin Knight out, though. Good gamble, 10, 12 points, so you just can't afford to get him a third. With the post-up right here, he's liable to get tagged for it.
Utes by 12, 3 minutes left in the half.
Got to help here. Good cut.
Johnson spotted the double team, went slicing to the bucket. Van Horn found him. Jeff Johnson has 4 off the bench.
He doesn't like the glamour of the game, Van Horn. He just likes to play. I mean, there's the double. He doesn't care about points. Give it up. That was their biggest concern, how to handle that pick and dive. Now, pick and stay with Sauer, he gets a shot, but they're staying at home.
2.5 minutes left in the half. Shot clock at 10. Jackson in traffic, tried to feed it off to Sauer, and it's taken away. Miller hit the deck and got it to Johnson. Even if Stanford had recovered the ball, there was going to be a shot clock violation.
And their offense has gone a little sour, by the way. They have struggled. Great coordination defensively by Rick Majerus' guys.
Well, I give you credit. It only took 18 minutes of game action for the first Sauer play on words. And there's Medela from the free throw line. 16-point lead, the largest for the Utes. Timeout, Stanford. It's a 20-second timeout. To some of the people involved with the Finnish national program. First night he went out with the Finnish national folks. Kind of behaved himself. Second night said, I think it might help the cause recruiting if I have a beverage or two and
well, I'll tell you what,
loosen up with the coaches.
I could have been very successful in Finland, I guess. Eh? Here's a little low post. Matson's got to help down there. Needs some punch and a big guy.
Madsen is 3. Utah started slowly on offense. 3 of its first 14 from the floor. And since then, they've made 10 of their last 13 shots to lead 14 under a minute and a half remaining in the half. Medela.
The guy's got a terrific game. And all of that because of the attention to Van Horn. Sauer banging, chucking down on the box. He just moves out a little bit. They don't play him. He shoots it, if not, the high-low.
Knight in the lane. Gave it off to Madsen. Medela careful not to commit a foul. Madsen is 5 off the Stanford bench.
And you think Knight gave him 2, he missed. They would have been right there if he made the 2. A little penetration by Brevin makes this team tick.
Shot clock is 22. Miller spins right by Knight. Andre Miller having a terrific first half with 11 points.
And no step-up defense. Brevin afraid to get number 3, backed off. Somebody else has got to support.
Shot clock is off. It appears Stanford will hold for the last shot of the half.
And this is the play they ran at the end to beat Arizona in their last game. They gave it to Sauer. Now they double. They don't let him penetrate.
Weems, a runner. They needed that. Time for a launch for the Utes. Miller traveled, and now plenty of time for Stanford. The game clock shows a second and a half, even though you heard the horn go off. Timeout has been called by Utah. Back for the final second and a half. By 14 with a second and a half left in the first half. The field goal percentage is coming up after an abysmal start shooting the ball for each team. Young pacing Stanford with 10 points and 7 rebounds. Van Horn and Andre Miller leading the Utes attack.
Sean, they burned at 20 here because they looked to see what Stanford was running, and then took the time out to coordinate. This is, you can catch and shoot it. You may be able to dribble at 1.5, but it's got to be a quick boom and up. Other than that, so it's going to be a screen, set your guy up, square up, and shoot. They'll be keen on trying to deny Brevin Knight the basketball. He's the kind of a guy that can get rid of it.
13 points for Jacobson, a junior from Cottage Grove, Minnesota. Code out for Iturbe. Iturbe can't get through James. McIntyre into the paint. His jumper won't drop. Rebounded by Winter.
Numbers aren't there unless you take it yourself. Jackson didn't take it himself.
James. This is Harris.
Pretty tough to guard Jackson. They clear out, he'd blow around.
Here for James.
That's the high post to the low post.
4 points.
That's one of Trevor Winter's key moves. He's 7 feet, goes to the high post, and feeds down to James in the low position.
James, the sophomore, has 4, 33 to 19. The Gopher fans alive. Quit for Jamison, and he's fouled by Jacobson. First on Jacobson.
That was a good foul. It was automatic basket. We had 2 fouls on him, or 1 on him. It wasn't a bad, but for his first foul, it was a good one because it was automatic inside position. It was an automatic deuce. So now he has to go and make them from 15 feet out.
James, Jackson, and Jacobson all get a rest for the Gophers. Quincy Lewis comes into the game, joining Witter, as does Miles Tarver, number 42, the sophomore from Oakland, California.
That was a brick that the Big O put up there. You know, he was recruited for football. He was down between Clemson and Florida State. And this powerful guy ended up playing basketball.
Jamison started the first 19 games for Clemson, and then Weidman took over for a while, but he started both games here in the tournament. 7:06 to go. Minnesota on top.
At Pennzoil, we know brutal driving doesn't just take place on a racetrack. It begins at the end of your driveway. You stop, you go. You stop, you go. If this reminds you of your commute, we recommend you use Pennzoil Motor Oil. Pennzoil, formulated for today's stop-and-go driving.
Morning, Bob. Morning, Henry.
Stop, go, Pennzoil.
One more drink, I'm like out of here. So anyway, I was driving over here, and it was so funny, you know? I mean, it was like TV or something, you know? This guy, he comes up to me. Huh? Oh, man.
Relive March Madness again and again. Experience all of this year's action with the official 1997 NCAA Championship video. Call now, 1-800-747-7999. It's all here, from the excitement of the opening rounds to the drama of the Final Four. Order the official 1997 NCAA Championship video by calling 1-800-747-7999.
You want to play sports at an NCAA Division I or Division II school?
You must be certified by the NCAA Initial Eligibility Clearinghouse. Get one of these student release forms from your coach or guidance counselor and send it to the clearinghouse. Remember, if you're not certified, you can't compete as a freshman in Division I or II. For more information, call toll-free 800-638-3731.
Want to play? Know the rules.
This message provided by the NCAA.
While you're rocking on the road to the Final Four, jump on the Information Expressway. CBS Sports is online with the breaking news and the latest scores at cbs.sportsline.com.
Tim Ryan and Al McGuire, we're back here in San Antonio. Our game summary looks like this in the three-point category. The Gophers are batting 1,000, 3 of 3. Clemson 3 of 6. Jackson has 13 points, and Jacobson just joined him with 13 points. For Minnesota leading 33-20 here. And Al, what can Clemson do to stem the tide, get back in this?
2 things, I think. Number one, I put a combination defense on Bobby Jackson. He's that good. And the other thing I would do, you've got to keep the ball in Buckner's and into McIntyre's hands. They got to get hot. Now, McIntyre's only 1 for 5, but he's a better shooter than that.
McIntyre with only 3 points. He averages 13.3 a game. Has not been a factor so far. This is Tarver, watched by Turbay.
See, the man-to-man here is not stopping them. Even if they're playing physical down low, they still get the ball down low. And Bobby here with the ball is just too quick.
And a good effort by McIntyre to knock the ball loose from Harris. Should be Gopher ball. Harris goes out. Jackson and Quincy Lewis will join Charles Thomas, 7-footer Witter, and Tarver. This is Bobby Jackson.
See, Jackson rather played a 2 position with Harris in there, but when Harris goes out, Jackson has to move to number 1 position. What he did then is just score on his own.
Only 3 players have taken shots for the Gophers so far in the game. James, Jacobson, and Jackson, the 3 J's.
Well, with a 15-point lead, no one else should shoot. Here's the solo. He's going all the way. Uh-oh, that might be, nope, didn't call the flagrant again.
Nearly went into the first row seats back there over the cheerleaders.
The Gophers are starting to break out. They're creating turnovers. There's a steal right there. Nice hands. See that quick move by this Bobby Jackson. He's just unbelievable. Oh, I thought, they didn't call any foul on that.
Yeah, they did. McIntyre.
But why isn't he shooting fouls then?
So Bobby Jackson and the Minnesota Gophers continue to roll. They lead Clemson 35-20. And Mike Krzyzewski, you haven't seen a lot of Minnesota, but now you know what people are talking about.
I'll tell you what, Pat, I love them. Their toughness is amazing, and they play as one. They're a beautiful team to watch and a veteran crew.
I think everybody on the panel agrees. Let's let everybody know what's going to go on later here on CBS. About 10 o'clock, St. Joseph's and the defending champions, Kentucky, then Iowa State and UCLA. 2 great games coming up later today. A couple of coaching news for you. Tommy Amaker has gone to Seton Hall. He's been with you for a long time, Coach. You replaced him with Johnny Dawkins, and knows a few things about scoring, doesn't he?
Well, Johnny is the all-time leading scorer in Duke history. He and Tommy played together on our 86 team that won 37 games. If I can't have Tommy, I'm going to want Johnny, so we're really lucky to have him.
And George, you have some news about the LSU job. They didn't waste any time there, did they?
Well, they have found Dale Brown's replacement at LSU. It'll be announced early next week that John Brady, the head basketball coach at Samford University in Birmingham, will take over as LSU's head coach. So from here on out, it'll be the Brady bunch leading the Tigers.
Permit us, if you will, to take a moment to extend our good wishes to 2 colleagues here at CBS. First to Jason Arrington, our manager of broadcast operations, who is in the hospital. Jason, we miss you. And to Scott Hamilton, who told us yesterday he has testicular cancer. Scott will undergo chemotherapy treatment soon, and we're convinced, as he is, that he'll be triple toe looping for a long time to come. Reality does set in. Hope you enjoyed Pennzoil at the half. Enjoy the second half here on CBS. We'll be here all night watching the games for you. I'll see you later.
Pennzoil at the Half was sponsored by Pennzoil, formulated for today's stop-and-go driving. Stop, go, Pennzoil.
The new Porsche Boxster is assembled at Zuffenhausen, Germany. Much the same way our original roadsters, the Spiders, were assembled. By human hands. Makes you wonder who builds other sports cars. The Boxster. Once again, there is no substitute.
When Kenny Tyler's brother came back as a ghost, it was a miracle. You really bugging? Now, getting rid of him is a whole other ball game. Marlon Wayans.
Come on, Muhammad Ugly.
Kadeem Hardison.
This only works if I keep a low profile. Negro, you invincible.
The Sixth Man.
I'm fine.
Rated PG-13. Starts Friday, March 28th.
Celebrating 40 years of building in Colorado, U.S. Home offers a variety of impressive home styles. You'll find comfort knowing your new U.S. Home rests on quality foundations from Pormore Construction, foundation specialists for over 35 years. Tarco Incorporated has been carving the earth into life spaces for over 20 years. We're proud to be a part of the creation and design of new and better ways to live in a U.S. Home community. U.S. Home, the nation's only 3-time winner of the National Builder of the Year Award.
You are witnessing, in its entirety, the Volkswagen sales pitch.
You want to take it for a spin?
Come on, put your seat in our seat. It's Volkswagen's National Test Drive event. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship is sponsored by Pontiac Brand Am, Budweiser, the Nissan. And by Hertz.
Welcome back to San Jose. At halftime, Utah leads by 14, and moments ago, Mike Mayock spoke with Stanford coach Mike Montgomery.
Coach, 10 for 32 shooting, 21 points, your lowest point total in the half for the year. What do you do to manufacture offense?
Well, we didn't play very well. It was kind of like Murphy's Law. We were dropping balls and weren't rebounding. We had some real good looks early that we missed, and that's always been something that's affected our confidence. We just got to turn it around. We got to play better defense so we can get out and get some shots off the break. Utah's not giving us much easy, so, we're going to have to work harder at defense and then get a little more confidence on offense.
Good luck in the second half, Coach. Thank you very much.
Mike Montgomery, a Stanford Cardinal, down by 14. Bill, your take on what the coach had to say?
Well, I think it all centers defensively around Brevin Knight. He's got to come up with some steals, the push, to get some easy opportunities. But I think Utah's preparation, they handle the pick and roll, the pick and stay. They've been devastated. They've run their post bumps, not being able to get Young involved. It's been a dilemma.
Well, Mike Montgomery's strategy, a key part of the win over Wake Forest tonight. Rick Majerus and his strategy paying off in a big way for Utah. Field goal percentages were poor for both teams early on. Utah really picked it up. Stanford improved as well. Stanford finished the half 7 for its last 11. They did not make a three-point field goal in the first half. And there's the improvement we talked about for the Utes. Over the first half, 3 out of 14 from the field. They finished the half 12 for 15. Stanford never led in the first half. Utah's biggest lead was 16. And no threes for Mike Montgomery, a surprise. They're a 39% three-point team, second to the Pac-10 during the year behind only Washington State. Stanford ball to begin the second half. The three-guard look. Weems the first shot. It spins out, and more of Murphy's Law for Mike Montgomery.
One and done. They haven't been able to do much on the glass. The big dilemma is Van Horn. Now he's posting up. They got to come help.
Van Horn's shot wouldn't drop. Van Horn led all scorers with 12 in the first half. Miller had 11 for Utah, while Young paced Stanford with 10. This is Tim Young.
Can't say enough about Miller's job on Brevin Knight. They're all helping. Nice look here. Good catch.
And the block by Van Horn, his second. The save by Caton in the corner.
Pretty good reaction to detail. I think he got an easy one. Van Horn steps up.
Caton to Hansen. Hansen's a junior, outstanding student, 3.98 GPA at the University of Utah, only 1 A-. All the rest straight A's. Van Horn.
What a rebound.
And the rebound stolen by Miller.
Double. Look at this. He should have elevated right over Brevin Knight.
Horn lost it. Well, the second half beginning as the first half did, but both teams struggling to score.
And this is where Knight usually steps up a little bit. Got to get himself involved. Great pass the last trip.
That pass deflected out of bounds by Hansen. How'd you like to be the professor who gave Drew Hansen the A-?
I was wondering, what did he falter on? He must have been tardy one day.
He's a political science and economics major. Heading to law school, Coach Majerus tells us, is Drew Hansen when he finished with his undergraduate work. Sauer.
Delivered, huh? Special delivery by Knight. They got to make some shots. Good opportunities. Empty.
2 minutes played in the second half. Neither team has scored since coming out of the locker room. Stanford is 0 for 3.
And there's the post-up Miller push. Good play by Knight with the front.
And the foul on Miller is his first.
John, they need a little juice right now, Stanford. I mean, the crowd in their favor. Here's one of the step-up plays defensively. It didn't lead to a fast break, but it got the turnover. They need some step-ups for Montgomery.
Utah's committed 2 more turnovers than Stanford, but the Cardinals being hampered by poor shooting. Lee, and the block called on Caton. 2 fouls on Ben Caton, the oldest player on the Utah team. He's 25 years old, married. He and his wife Angie have a daughter, Kelsey. Ben went on an LDS mission to Slovenia.
His brother signed also, I'm told, at Utah. So we're keeping it in the family. A little spin out. And Doliak, he's going to be a doctor. Used his hands pretty well there and caused the walk.
Young traveled. Then Caton's brother, Trace Caton, a 6'4" forward coming to Utah out of Alamosa, Colorado next year. So they have two players on the team who have their brothers coming next year. And there's the lob. Miller to Van Horn. Perfectly executed for the first basket of the half for either team.
You can see this team during the course of this season has matured so much. Great feel for one another and understanding. Another double here.
Knight trying to blow by Miller. And the dish off.
Well, that's his game, Sean. Brevin Knight's got to churn it up.
Peter Sauer with his first points. Sauer's a sophomore from Pittsburgh. His dad, Mark, is the president of the St. Louis Blues of the NHL and the CEO of the Kiel Center, the arena in which the Blues play. Mark Sauer, formerly the CEO of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Well, it looks like the open a little bit, huh? We had the spin out, the ability to get himself to the tin and then send it in or out. He's tough for Sauer.
Knight in the lane. The tip by Young wouldn't go. More of Murphy's Law. Caton saves it for Hansen, and then the foul on Sauer.
That's a frustrating trip, and they've had a few of those. Exactly what Mike Montgomery was concerned about as he got into the second half. But you can see, though, the enthusiasm a little bit more involved offensively. Getting into the thick of the defense causes some problems for Utah.
Hanno Metala back into the ball game. Michael Doliak goes out.
Boy, Van Horn is physical. He just whacks Sauer down there. He is a load to guard.
He's gained 40 pounds, has Van Horn, over his 4-year career at Utah. Came in a very skinny 195 pounds.
His wife must be some cook, huh? As they get the push-off on Lee. One of the great stories in college, though, when you think of Van Horn staying, a lot of people thought he would opt for the NBA. Settle down, a child as his bride, expecting as well.
Amy Van Horn, Keith's wife. They have a daughter, Sabrina, who will be 2 in late May, and Amy is expecting their second child in June. Jordy McTavish in the game with the ball for the Utes. Caton, who drew the charge a moment ago, was on the WAC defensive team this year. And an illegal screen called by McTavish. There's young Sabrina. Timeout. The Utes lead by 14.
Van Horn family here with me. Wife right now, Amy, talk to me a little bit about the decision to stay for a 4th year. It must have been tough, especially with Sabrina here almost 2 and another child on the way.
Well, for us, it meant that we would have a year together and a year of, without all the commotion. I think it was good for us.
And now a little more maturity going into his rookie year. I guess you're really happy with the decision you made.
Absolutely. Extremely happy. We're happy that we decided to go through this great year. It's been a lot of fun.
And May, growing up, I guess he was a gym rat, wasn't he?
He was an easy kid to raise. He just didn't give me any flack. So what can I say? He learned from his older brother and sister not to get under mother's skin. So
listen, enjoy the game. Sean McDonough, take it away.
And part of the decision for Keith Van Horn to stay, a promise he made to his late father, Ken, who died a couple of years ago of a heart attack at age 57. He promised he would get his college degree, and he will stay around to do that. It would be much harder if he left and gone to the NBA to come back and get his degree. People talk about doing that, but it's not easily done.
And how much he enjoyed this year, and what a great decision. Not a good look here by Metala. Foul at the one, then, and the counter at the other.
Stanford trying to get the crowd into the game for the first time. Nice.
He loves the second half. Down the lane with the deuce and then the jumper. He's got him on a string.
22nd timeout, Utah.
Maybe I should have...
History, 3 of the 6 California teams still alive. Only St. Mary's, USC, and Pacific have been knocked out.
Key thing is to control the dribble penetration. Brevin Knight on Miller, and then Miller on the box. He's got to be careful to get number 3, Brevin Knight.
Utah 1 for 4 shooting this half with 5 turnovers. Van Horn bumped on the drive. And Sauer is called for the foul, his third.
Not good with the dribble. Sauer having his trouble, and Brevin's the guy lighting it up. You see that bold look. A couple of the players decided at Pete Sauer's request to go ball. He didn't. He got nice to
the interception. Knight trying to finish the tip in by Young. Knight kicked it in at 5 feet 8 and change.
The little guy up big. Well, now they got the house.
Stanford was down by 16. They've narrowed the gap to 8.
Got a dive to the box.
Hansen missed a 3. Rebound Young. Sauer running the floor.
He gives it up on time. Understands the game. Great look by Brevin Knight.
Second timeout. Stanford on a 10-0 run.
Well, the second half is nighttime. And say goodnight if they get out on the floor. It's turning mistakes at the baskets, and he's the juice. He's the cause.
Stanford started slowly this half, but they've begun to pick it up. No more 20-second timeouts remaining for Utah. Sauer, the sophomore from Pittsburgh, out of Shady Side Academy, with the layup that helped ignite this crowd. They were down 16. They've run off 10 in a row. Now the Cardinal down 6.
It's usually Van Horn time. They post up Miller.
Miller lost the grip on the way up. And Stanford will play it in.
What a great screen by Van Horn on the dive to the box. Just a little tardy, and Miller excited, let it slip.
Knight, Weems, and Lee, the 3 guards with Sauer and Young. Utes with 6 turnovers in this half. Sauer, well short. Miller trying to drive by Knight. Foul called on Knight. He can't believe it and came very close to a technical.
He's as good as I've ever seen as Mike Montgomery. The mild-mannered guy's got a little pizzazz in his game, too. He may look like your professor, but he gets after it. Unbelievable how he can get over, get ahead on the dribbler, and I think that's great defensive maneuvering by one of the star defenders in the country, and not only the Pac-10.
Van Horn, they need it. They don't get it. The rebound is run down by Miller.
And Brevin Knight has to be careful now. We're going to Van Horn.
Bad pass off the shin of Caton. Hansen got it back and a foul and a reach in. And that's number 4 on Brevin Knight.
A real nickel dimer, too. Oh. Well, they turned it up a notch, and this is an aggressive play. First Lee, and Brevin does reach in, but not the kind of consequence that would necessitate the P and the whistle exploding. Four's got to be good, don't you think? I mean, real good.
2 fouls in a span of 20 seconds picked up by Knight, and Mike Montgomery is letting him play with 4. Van Horn, another miss. Knight the rebound. 13 minutes left. Utah by 6. Knight down the lane, fouled by Miller.
And Mike Montgomery working the officials, and I don't blame him, over on the sideline. He's giving him an earful, and that's what you got to do. Pay attention. Now the gamble is, and now Mike's trying to control.
Oh, and the assistant coach got a technical. Doug Oliver was physically restrained by Mike Montgomery. He could see the technical coming, and yet the assistant would not pipe down. A terrible moment for Doug Oliver with his team with some momentum, and Mike Montgomery did all he could to have his assistant be quiet, but Doug Oliver wouldn't stop talking.
Sean, I honestly think he initially tried to get Montgomery to stop.
Utah leads by 6. Stanford has run off 10 unanswered points, and Brevin Knight will shoot 2 after the foul by Andre Lowe. There's also been a technical call on Doug Oliver, longtime assistant to Mike Montgomery, who was upset about 2 quick personal fouls called on Brevin Knight in a span of 20 seconds. Moments ago, you could see Tom Lopes telling Mike Montgomery to back off, and he did. And it looks like Mike Montgomery says, okay, I've calmed down, but then Doug Oliver wouldn't stop. And Tom Lopes nailed him with a tee, and Mike Montgomery said to his assistant, how can you do that?
You got to walk away. Come on, it's too important. I don't think it was 2 plays defensively that could change the whole outcome of the game. I think it's one of those, just walk away if you're an official. Goodness, you don't have to hear everything.
That's right, because if you're these officials, you have to know that both of those fouls, the 3rd and 4th on Knight, were questionable calls. So you think you would give Montgomery, his bench, Brevin Knight, every bit of latitude. In fairness to the officials, they did let Knight do an awful lot of running around the arena, voicing his displeasure without hitting him with a technical, which would have sent him out of the game.
And I know Mike long enough and well enough that he would not say anything that would warrant it. As Caton gets an open look. Oh.
Will the technical be a momentum killer? First 3 for Caton. Knight's shot wouldn't drop, out of bounds for the Utes. Winner of this game meets the winner of the game to be played later on tonight here in San Jose between Kentucky and St. Joseph's, the Atlantic 10 tournament champions, taking on the #1 seed in the West.
Brevin Knight going to the goal, thought he got hit. He's got to relax, play his game now.
Jeff Johnson is in the game, as is Jordy McTavish. A couple of freshmen on the floor for Rick Majerus.
Nice high-low here.
And Van Horn had a shot blocked. The putback wouldn't go. Foul on the rebound action.
Now, I know Keith Van Horn is posted up strong, but he's getting measured for a new shirt collar down on the box. I mean, the pass is not a good one. But now watch the arm right. Oh, my goodness.
Sauer should have been called for a foul.
Doesn't get to the free throw line. They're letting them play a little bit inside.
Foul on Young was his 3rd. Stanford is over the limit with 17 fouls now. 12:05 remaining. Goliak with his first 2 points. And very quickly the lead goes back to 11.
Run a little set and settle for the drive late. They've been driving early.
Knight guarded by Caton. Contact foul on Caton. And the mock cheer goes up from the Cardinal partisans. It's the 6th team foul called on the Utes here in the second half. Timeout. Will return to the West Region semifinals in a moment. Called on the Stanford bench. The Utah lead has gone back to 11. Stanford shooting 32% for the game. That was the percentage in the first half. Brevin Knight picked up his 4th foul with 13:09 remaining and has continued to play. There's his dad, Melvin Knight, fine player at Seton Hall, an assistant to Bill Raftery for many years, and still in coaching now.
Both had great coaches. Unfortunately, Mel didn't. Bobby Farrell, the Seton Hall Prep high school coach, did such a great job with Brevin to understand the game and bring him to this level. He's had a wonderful career at Stanford. Mel, unfortunately, had to play for me.
He's now coaching at Essex County Community College. And Brevin's mother, Brenda, is the secretary on the Seton Hall campus. That's where his name Brevin comes from. His mom, Brenda, and the father, Melvin. On the floor, Van Horn couldn't come up with it. Knight ripped it away. Whips it underneath for the easy shot. Young, who's a left-hander, missed the easy one with the right hand. You can't miss any gimmies. Down by 11 with just more than 11 minutes remaining. Well, here's a picture of that handsome bunch from Seton Hall, 1979-80. There's Bill Raftery. That was a blemish on the picture, by the way. Bill was not drooling.
Well, they have been a growth. Chris Bell was our co-captain along with Gary Cavallo. A lot of fun days with those guys. Coach Brevin, just sensational how he's learned the game.
Goliak misses a 3. The long rebound out to Miller. Fresh 35 on the clock for the Utes. The game clock under 11 minutes now. Hall was widely criticized for not recruiting Brevin Knight, but they weren't alone. A lot of schools were scared off by his lack of height.
Well, they thought they had good guards at the time. Matz, what a chug on that, trying to get through a screen. Yeah, PJ had kids he thought would play, but he didn't think Brevin would get the time. It worked out better for both.
Brevin's choices came down to Manhattan College. He was afraid Fran Fraschilla would leave. That's why he didn't want to go to Manhattan or Stanford. Stanford could afford to take a chance coming off a 7-23 season. The only losing season they've had under Mike Montgomery. Madsen picked up the foul. Payton a miss. The rebound kept alive by Doliak for a moment, but Madsen pulled it away. Still an 11-point game as we approach the midpoint of the second half. Knight went throwing by Miller. Miller called for the brush.
He has different levels of speed, and it doesn't look like he's reaching back. He just blows by people. He saw the back line, not paying attention to detail, just turned it up a notch.
Here's Brendan Knight on the left of the picture alongside Mel. Well, the sign obscuring Mrs. Knight. Brevin goes to the line.
Their youngest son is on the Seton Hall team playing in the state championship in New Jersey. He's a sophomore and a very talented guy. And Mel thinks he's got a shot to be as good, if not better, than his brother. Special guy, easy to coach, great to work with as an administrator and an assistant coach. And we wish nothing but the best for them and their guys.
Utah's lead again down to single digits. Utes have won 13 games in a row coming into this one. Stanford has won 6 straight and 9 out of 10.
Big thing is Knight not playing Miller. Gives him a little chance to rest, sniff around, maybe come up with some steals. He's on Kate.
Shoulder fake by Miller, but then Young blocked the shot. A three-pointer by Lee from the corner.
They are a confident team. They keep coming at you. And Brevin loves to give it to any of them. He has great confidence in his teammates. Van Horn should take Madsen outside. They do. Much tougher matchup here.
Madsen made him step inside the three-point line. Van Horn, tough shot in traffic as he was approaching the 7-footer Young, and Keith has 18 points.
Well, if he looks at Madsen and Young, he ought to just move out quickly. He can do damage deep.
Lee tees up another three. And a foul on the rebound action. And it might be on Van Horn as he was jockeying with Madsen for position. It is on Van Horn, his second personal.
And Sean, when you can shoot the ball like he can, he drew the attention with the pump fake. Gets into traffic. He's got an array of releases when he's around the tin as well. Good shot selection, understands which one to put up.
Now Madsen at the line. He's come on strong lately. Had problems with a stress fracture with his lower back at the start of the year. Mike Montgomery told us yesterday Madsen's teammates were amazed in the preseason practices. What a fine player he was, having been away for 2 years on the mission in Spain. And then he suffered the injury, and it really set him back. Missed the first 4 games of the year, and once he returned, it took a while to get back into game shape.
I mentioned those 10 children. The father's a broker. I'm glad the market's been so favorable for the Madsens.
Mark says he's as hardworking as his dad and gets his fearlessness from his mother. 6-point game. Miller strong into the lane. Brevin Knight, fortunately for Stanford, was not involved in the collision. Mosley was.
That's one of those deals where Young came over to help out, and hopefully Miller will be in good shape. Andre holding his wrist. We're talking about Brevin Knight getting to the gap. He's extraordinary too, turning the corner. Everybody collapses defensively as he comes down the lane, and as he hits the deck, he just falls incorrectly with the body under him. Couldn't get his hands out. You can see just that twist then. Mosley low and Young high.
Young called for the foul, and he's the second Stanford player with 4. It looked like his right wrist went awkwardly into the basket support. Boy. And the crowd just saw the same replay you saw. on the replay screens at midcourt, and they groaned collectively when they saw the hand and wrist bend back.
Well, Sean, as important as Brevin Knight is on the one end for Stanford, Andre Miller just runs this team. And when they run the fast break, he's in the center of things, organizing the offense, the post up, the tips, the rebounds. The extension of Rick.
Miller's a junior, did not play at Utah for academic reasons his first year on campus, despite the fact that he was a Dean's List student and an honor roll student in high school. And he's done well in the classroom at Utah, had a 2.65 GPA last semester. He's a sociology and criminology major. Obviously in pain, flexing the fingers on the right hand. Meanwhile, Medela comes in to take Miller's place at the free throw line.
Go from 58% too, Sean. Medela at 63, so they gain a few percentage points. It's a good sign. He's up at the top of the bench. I bet he's back in there quickly.
1 out of 2 for Medela. Madsen the rebound. It's a 7-point lead for Utah. The Utes have not trailed in the game. Lee for 3.
Does he give it up early enough? I mean, Lee has all the time to coordinate, get the puppy set, and knock it down. Good dish by Brevin.
Peyton Adoliak on the floor with Medela, Van Horn, and Hansen for the Utes. Hansen a 3. Rebound ripped away by Doliak from Madsen. Peyton to Van Horn, and he's fouled on the way up. Let's get a report from Mike Mayock.
Yeah, Sean, despite the severity of that replay, the injury to Andre Miller is not bad at all. He just bruised his right hand, and as you can see right now, he's back in the game, ready to go.
That's good news indeed. Van Horn at the line. WAC Player of the Year this year for the 3rd straight year. Is the only 3-time WAC Player of the Year in the history of that conference.
And you think of Danny Ainge and Timmy Hardaway too, right? They were only twice. A great talent. And what Rick has done, I think, with this individual is taught him the value of defense, and he feels it's spilled over to his offense now. Very comfortable on the defensive end, particularly playing post guys.
Van Horn also first team All-WAC 4 straight years, and Danny Ainge is the only other player in conference history to accomplish that. Van Horn broke Ainge's conference scoring mark this year and is Utah's all-time leading scorer. Nice pass, Lee to Van Elswick, and he was fouled on the way up.
Now, Weems and Lee on that baseline are very comfortable. A lot of guys that use the post rub, if they don't get a jump shot, everything comes to the middle of the floor. They're very attuned to getting in there and finding somebody, but also the big guys get those hands ready. And if you play with Knight, you better have the hands facing the basketball.
Now Van Elswick, a junior from Hamilton, Ontario, in his first year at Stanford. He transferred from South Carolina, where he was a 2-year starter. Matter of fact, in South Carolina, he was just the 2nd player since 1973 to start every game of his freshman season for the Gamecocks. The other was a fairly decent player by the name of Alex English.
The poet. Little stack look and a lock by Van Horn. Look at all the helping down there.
Hansen taking some threes in some key spots here in the second half. And a foul on Stanford on the rebound action against Van Elswick. And that's his first. That'll send Doliak to the line. Double bonus situation. Stanford over 10 team fouls for the half. So Utah will shoot 2 the rest of the way. And that's a long way, 8:05 remaining.
Sean, I know they talk about the WAC conference. What did Rick say to you about the quad, etc.?
He said the WAC is so confusing with 16 teams. You have to refer not only to your league, but also your quad and your division. He said we are WAC Conference, Mountain Division, Quad 3. Reporting for duty. 8 minutes remaining. Utah by 7.
They look like they got a little gimmick defense. A little triangle and 2, maybe.
Van Elswyk created the contact, didn't get the bounce off the rim. Van Horn called for the foul, his third. Don't forget, coming up in Game 2 of our doubleheader tonight, you'll be seeing either St. Joseph's versus Kentucky from here in San Jose. That tip is scheduled for approximately 10 p.m. Eastern. Some of you will see Iowa State and UCLA from the Midwest Regional in San Antonio. They'll be tipping at approximately 10:15 Eastern time. 10-team fouls now on Utah, so it's double bonus in effect both ways. It's been a foul festival here in the second half.
And, you know, that little triangle and 2, I think, protection for the fouls, but also maybe to do something to get Reverend Knight away from the basketball, get away from the penetration, let others beat you.
Timeout. 6-point game, 7:52 remaining in San Jose.
I think that's been the key. There haven't been easy baskets for Minnesota since about the middle of the first half.
Two things that Clemson has done. One, they continue to control the tempo of the game, and they've made 13 out of the last 14 foul shots.
Clemson getting back into it from the free throw line. Minnesota leads 46-39. Clark Kellogg.
Well, Minnesota, again, has shown that they're able to play a grinded-out type of game. They'd much rather get out and get some easy scores. But right now, the key for them is to do a better job defensively, not allowing the easy pass entry into the post that's allowed Clemson to get the ball in there and then draw a foul.
Mike, a red-hot start for the Gophers, shooting 58% now.
Well, when you shoot 58%, you're only up by 6 at halftime. You're a little bit worried as a basketball coach.
You can see, Mike, that what Clemson, Minnesota has done now, they've shifted into a 2-1-2 zone to try to shut that middle entry pass down.
A 5-point game now, a lot at stake. Winner here also goes to the Elite Eight, plays over the weekend. So big doings for both these teams.
Exactly, and you can see right here against the zone, Clemson still able to get penetration right to the front of the rim, and that's Jamison with the punch. You've got to be able to make Clemson beat you from the outside. Don't let those guys get inside. Right now, Clemson very comfortable here, Pat, with this pace. This is just the way they want to play it.
Pat, if it stays half court, Clemson's got a great chance of winning this basketball game because in the ACC, Clemson's as good a half-court team as there is in the ACC.
And you've seen a lot of them.
Seen them all.
You've seen them all, you're right. Good point.
Some too much.
5-point game here. Minnesota leads 46-41. Let's go back to San Jose and Sean McDonough and Bill Raftery.
Michael Toliak scores following up the miss by Keith Van Horn. And Utah leads by 6 with 6:45 remaining. Mosley thought about a 3. Mosley to Van Elswyk. Now Mosley on the sideline, right in front of the Stanford bench.
Knowing where you are, it's not just San Jose, but Van Horn puts so much against your defense. You step up, it opens up that easy opportunity for Doliak. The stress on your interior defense when a guy of that ability comes at you.
That was the first field goal in the game for Michael Doliak. Their second leading scorer, 14.4 coming in.
And he's had doubles 15 of his last 17 games, this guy. I mean, he's good low post scorer.
Van Horn to Caton. Caton will try a 3. And the rebound, Madsen and Van Elswyk battling each other. Finally, Madsen ripped it away from Van Elswyk. 6 minutes left, 6-point lead for the Utes.
I guess high college boards, you have trouble communicating, huh? Let one guy grab it.
Knight trying to work on Miller. Knight playing with 4 fouls. The stick back wouldn't go. Van Horn thought he was fouled by Van Elswyk. He lost the ball and then started shaking his right hand.
Big move look at this post up. Van Elswyk gets caught for it, but that's just great basketball. Past the proper angle, Hansen with a nice dump down.
A lot of attention on Van Horn, but here in the NCAA tournament, it's been a very strong supporting cast for the Utes. Doliak in the 2 wins in the tournament prior to tonight, averaging 18.5. Caton, 13 points. Vast improvement over his regular season performance. Miller, 10 points and 7.5 assists.
Sean, you were complimenting Mike Montgomery, and rightfully so, about gambling with Brevin Knight being on the floor. But his move off of Miller defensively saved him as well. He could disturb a little, but he didn't have that punishing post-up or dribble penetration of Andre Miller.
Goliak makes a pair. The lead back up to 8 for the Utes. They advance to this game by beating Navy in the first round. And North Carolina, Charlotte in the second round in Tucson, while Stanford advanced with victories over Oklahoma and Wake Forest.
That's it, tough. Didn't squeeze it. Boy, he had great post position on Van Horn. Keith runs the floor great. Look at this. Say goodnight. Kane, on the money.
The lead back to 10 for the Utes, nearing 5 minutes remaining. Young with 4 fouls, the spin to the bucket. Young fouled by Hansen.
I talked about the ability to beat you outside with the dribble, with the passing, the leak out, the anticipation. We mentioned the comparison, some of the things to Bird. Well, Larry Bird ran the floor better than his speed would dictate because he understood the action, the game. And look at the gather in traffic as Madsen does a great job trying to recover.
Young will shoot 2, but first he'll wipe some sweat off the floor. Looking for his first points here in the second half. Peter Sauer back into the ball game for Mark Madsen.
You can almost forecast, after listening to Mike Montgomery, the concern on how to match up with Van Horn. Now they come smaller with Sauer. We'll see if he posts up a little bit. He's been trying to do a yo-yo job with his big guys.
2 free throws by Young. It's an 8-point game. 5 minutes remaining. Ooh, look out. Goliak setting a screen. Lee ran right into him. Miller started to drive, and that could be number 5 on Young. It is.
Oh, now that's the small change. I know they want to call it. Oh, goodness. This one doesn't ruffle the shirt. Big guy banging around. He can't understand it as well. Down the other end, he had a little rolling hook, took a little bit of a shot. And that is a difficult situation for them as they come with Madsen. When you get much of a blow, they get very small quickly.
15 rebounds to go with those 12 points for Young. Sophomore from Santa Cruz with an interesting family life. His mom, Mary Harris, lives in a rustic house without a phone or electricity. Up in Eureka, Northern California, near the Oregon border. She gets her water from a nearby stream. Dad, Greg, runs a construction company, rides a Harley Davidson. His parents have not been together since Tim was 6 years old.
I can relate a little bit with the phone. I mean, I have 4 kids. I don't have any access to a phone.
According to CBS records, you make up for it on the road, being the social guy that you are.
Yeah, right now it's a important possession as you look at the game. 4:50 and counting. This is a pick and stay for Sauer. They've done a nice job reacting to it.
Lee, a little bit long with that 3. Rebound by Hansen. So Stanford has made a couple of runs here in the second half. Twice closed within 4. The first run was repelled in part by a technical foul called on the Stanford bench.
I think the ball's got to come back in Knight's hands when they run their set and let him do some creating. Chuck has gotten him a little bit of trouble here.
And Payton didn't get the bounce. Foul on the rebound action on Goliak as Lee had possession of the ball. Don't forget, coming up in game 2 of tonight's doubleheader, you'll be seeing either St. Joe's versus Kentucky from here in San Jose. Tip time approximately 10. Or from the Midwest Regional in San Antonio, Iowa State and UCLA. The Bruins playing as well as any team in the country, and Iowa State appears to be getting back on track after some struggles at the end of the regular season and in the conference tournament.
Well, all of a sudden, Steve Land, unbelievable season for the beginning in December, the struggles, and Iowa State, Cato in the middle. This is a terrific defensive team. Of course, at this time of year, that's what steps up, just like Utah has tried to force Stanford out of the organized sets, and you got to rely on individual ability, and basically the only breakdown guy is Brevin Knight.
Lee made the first free throw. He's a sophomore from Los Angeles. He's played both guard spots this year. Mike Montgomery says he's trying to get him ready for next year, when he'll run the point as Brevin Knight graduates.
The man is what he said. He will be in charge.
7-point game. The Cardinal hanging in there, but running out of time. 4:08 remaining.
There's their high-low little look now.
Van Horn traveled. Little shuffle step at the elbow by Keith Van Horn. Brevin Knight lets the ball roll. No 5 count anymore on that play. Used to be 5 seconds would start the minute the ball was released by the inbounder. Weems going up to shoot a 3. And he'll take 3 from the line as Drew Hansen fouled him for his 3rd personal.
What a great reaction defensively. Unfortunately, they forced him way out for the 3. And closing out, got that little hand in there, but he's just gone straight up. It was a great closeout. Knight just delivers it correctly. Weems is there. Bang, you got a chance to get a shot off.
Big free throws. Weems gets the bounce on the first. He's a 77% free throw shooter, and this is an excellent Stanford team from the line. 74.5% collectively, best in the Pac-10, so you knew the miss was coming on cue.
Fundamentally sound, much like their coach.
Guys can express what they want, and the orders are generally followed by Knight and Miller.
Brevin Knight has played more than 9 minutes with 4 fouls. Miller guarded by Lee. It's Payton working on Weems.
They're just hiding Brevin Knight. They're exchanging the post screens. He just switches.
Minnesota with a 3-point lead in San Antonio over Clemson with the shot clock down to 6. Van Horn missed a long 3. Knight right down the lane, goaltending. Van Horn guilty of goaltending, and Stanford is as close as it has been in the second half.
He's a leg checker. He just looks at the size of the legs. He knows they can't keep up with him. A big guy on the foul line. The blow by to the chin by Brevin Knight.
Three minutes remaining.
Try to get Van Horn involved a little bit.
Goliak. Madsen got a piece of the ball. It winds up with Miller. He is fouled. The shot wouldn't drop. And the foul is on Lee. Fine defensive play by Madsen on Goliak, but Miller was in the right place to pick up the free ball and draw the foul, and Andre will shoot 2.
And Brevin Knight held his breath on that one, too. But Goliak, what a presentation to beg for the basketball. And you're right, the counter by Madsen was sensational.
3 fouls on Lee. Miller's 2 out of 3 from the line tonight. But the worst free throw shooter among the Utah starters at 57% for the year.
Sean, Utah should go deep, get the big guys involved on the box. I think they can dominate the counter. Stanford run their stuff, get Knight a second touch, and good things will happen. Push
Van Horn got away with a push-off, it appeared. Sauer went flying away from the rebound action. Then Van Horn was fouled.
Boy, that's a shame. Oh, did he? This is worse than the Tavern League little shove we've all performed.
Watch
right
Sauer.
Here. Sauer.
Oh, boy, the shove right in the back. The crowd sees the replay that you saw at the same time. The foul was on Madsen, his 3rd. Huge play and a bad miss by the officials. Knight missed a 3. Goliak, a nice job of screening away Madsen from the rebound.
And down the end, Madsen had to run the cover on Van Horn. He's stopped right now. And obviously, the counter by Utah. I think they should go inside. Well, they can dribble drive.
Van Horn forced to pull up. The shot was short. Madsen couldn't control it. Lee did. Van Horn called for the reach-in. And that's 4 on Keith Van Horn. So a couple of All-Americans, Knight and Van Horn, each saddled with 4 fouls now at 2:19 remaining.
You really don't want Van Horn to get a foul on this particular play, but you like the hustle. Once you reach in, you're going to get it, but he should have knocked down that little jumper. Had a good look on the baseline.
Mike Montgomery in the ear of Ted Hillary. And that push-off was so obvious from our vantage point. You wonder how 3 officials a lot closer to it than we are missed it.
Well, I think sometimes the vision goes up to the rim on the free throw, on the jump shot, and you don't see what's underneath. Of course, they can get screened off as well, in fairness to them. But they did miss it.
Lee, an important miss. He's 2 out of 3. Now 3 out of 4 from the line. And a 20-second timeout called by Mike Montgomery. So he has 120.
Sean, Andre Miller's been quiet. And I don't know if it's the wrist, but he hasn't tried to do the things that he did earlier in the basketball game. They need him to turn the corner. They also, I think, got to get Doliak and Van Horn on that high-low that they favor.
Utah with the ball, leading by 5. Miller guarded by Lee. Miller, Doliak, Hansen, Payton, and Van Horn, the veteran lineup on the floor for the Utes.
If you check Brevin Knight, he's almost zoning. He's not following Hansen. He's looking around to do that. See him in the lane? Now he's exchanging, pointing out. He just takes the next guy through. That's how they've saved the ball this half. Great job by Brevin and the gamble by Montgomery.
Utes running the shot clock. Miller. Top shot contested by Lee. Miller got his own rebound. A huge bucket by Andre Miller. He has 14 points.
Sean, you almost feel he can do that anytime he wants. And maybe the 20, Rick recognized it.
Knight had trouble with the dribble and missed the scoop. Out of bounds, last touched by Utah.
Well, he had the wrist damage on the basket support. But this time, getting to that gap and the hesitation, the strength to go up a second time and counter.
And a foul for a hold away from the ball. It's on Drew Hansen, and that's 4 on the junior from Tooele, Utah. A minute and a half remaining. Utah by 7. Chris Weems, a sophomore from Kansas City, Kansas, to shoot 2. Vital numbers, double bonus has been in effect for a while. Each team in possession of 2 full timeouts, and the arrow still in favor of the Utes. Weems, 3 out of 5 from the line. Madsen in the corner, kicking it around with Doliak, the scrum, and here comes that arrow into play. Utah ball with a minute 24 remaining.
Well, Madsen's had his hand all game on balls, haven't been able to come up with it. The 20.
Now neither team has a 20 remaining as Stanford uses its last. Mike Montgomery whacked it like the ball in his hands. They don't want it in Miller's hands, and he lost it on the sideline.
What a great use of the 20, though. Change the look, throw a little wrinkle out there, and see how the club reacts.
Mike Montgomery has raised his stock as a tactician in this tournament. People who didn't know about him know about him now.
It seems they only didn't know about him in California. The rest of the coaching profession does.
Sauer with some big shots against Wake. Tip in by Madsen. It was just barely out of the cylinder. An illegal play for Madsen.
Sure was. He is tough around the rim. Here comes a little double. He's got to stay at home. Don't gamble.
Van Horn's a 90% free throw shooter. They don't want to foul him. You see the game clock at 50 seconds. The shot clock is now at 15.
Now just play solid D now. Don't foul.
Hansen, a strong move to the bucket.
And that's everybody on the perimeter running around, freed up Hansen.
Great time for his first points of the night. Knight was fouled, and he nearly had a chance for 3. He'll shoot a pair. The foul is on Caton, and he has fouled out for Utah.
Now you look for tightness on defense, and everybody roaming around outside. You see the late little shape up there to pick up the charge by Lee, but a wonderful look, and then Hansen, who just adds to the mix. He's not trying to ruin anything, contributes solidly, do whatever he can to help his club.
Caton departs with 3 points. He's a senior, hoping that this will not be his final game. Utes trying for the 3rd time in the 90s to reach the Elite 8. And As Rick Majerus said, they haven't been able to get over this hump during his tenure. In '91, they lost to an outstanding UNLV team in the Sweet 16. Last year, they got throttled by Kentucky, the eventual national champion, in the Sweet 16 in Minneapolis.
Well, the respect of many, and what he's been consistently able to do, one of the funny people in basketball, but when he's all serious, all business out here, it's like he's dining.
8 out of 8 from the line tonight is Brevin Knight. He has 7 assists and only 1 turnover. The Cardinal back within 4. When bound the ball, Stanford with 1 timeout left. Utah has 2. And build a strategy.
Well, Sean, when you think of the last time they pressed, they did a great job. Miller had a turnover. You don't want Miller to really have the basketball. I think he may inbound it because of his poor free throw shooting. Maybe it's a time for Van Horn to go back and bring the basketball up, particularly if they go straight up man, Stanford.
Miller, the worst free throw shooter on the court for Utah, and he throws it into the best Van Horn. Now Jackson, the freshman, put in the ball game by Rick Majerus. And he'll take a pressure-packed trip to the line. Minnesota has reclaimed the lead over Clemson by 2. We'll get you to that game as soon as we're finished here. Rick Majerus showing faith in David Jackson, the freshman from Portland, Oregon. He is 69% from the line. Hasn't been there very often this year. 18 out of 26. Lee committed his 4th foul.
The luxury of 2 didn't help on that one. Big thing for Stanford now on a long rebound. They got a squeeze, and Utah, conversely, a tip back out.
Jackson forced into the game with the departure of Caton. The fouls he missed. Both and Van Horn, a huge rebound.
The size, and Lee unable to squeeze Van Horn. Oh my
goodness, the pass right through the hands of Jackson. Stanford had a chance to foul Andre Miller, who's 1 out of 4 in this half from the line. Instead, they let him pass, and it worked out for the Cardinal. They have the ball with 30 seconds left, down by 4. Knight down the lane.
Picked up the lingerie. Can he blow by anybody? Miller, pretty good defender, unable to contain the overdrive of Knight. Now, Sean, this is just going up a notch. Hit the accelerator. How about the reverse? He's so used to protecting the basketball as the Stanford Cardinal supporters on the bench go wild. He used that rim beautifully.
Mr. and Mrs. Knight, Brenda on the left, Melvin on the right, agonizing over the upcoming free throw. Brevin has been perfect from the line tonight. 8 out of 8. The last time they were within 2, the Cardinal was at 6-4 with 10:29 remaining in the first half.
And Sean, they got to stretch the game on this make it set. The quick giveaway, and they take Brevin Knight to give out to give the foul. Let's see.
Mosley is into the game, and Knight will go off.
This is a catch given. You've got to lengthen this game, even though it's only 1.
And Utah has been shaky down the stretch. The Utes have made 1 of their last 5 free throws. And they had a shaky turnover a moment ago and a pass by Miller that went through the hands of Jackson. Miller inbound to Doliak. Madsen called for a foul. Either Madsen or Weems, who converged on Doliak.
Mike Montgomery's guys have reacted beautifully defensively. They made it tough on Rick and his people. Not really another point mentality out there with Miller on the floor. Hanson more of an off guard, and they relied on their big people to screen and step back to the ball in Doliak.
4 fouls on Madsen. Doliak 75% from the season from the line. And perfect tonight. He'll shoot 2 with his team leading by 1, 25 seconds remaining.
Courage. Step up key times. Miller should do a good job trying to deny Brevin Knight the basketball.
10 points for Doliak, all in the second half. Now 3 to tie for Stanford. Knight lost the dribble. Loose ball, Stanford ball. Last touched on the floor by the Utes, Drew Hansen.
What a play by Andre Miller. He faked at the basketball. Oh, was that terrific. Everything but the pill. Need a pinch now on the dribble penetration.
Knight. Tough shot with Miller guarding. Van Horn dropped it out of bounds. And a timeout called by Mike Montgomery with 10 seconds left now. They really need to take a three. Back in a moment.
A pick and roll with Brevin Knight staying behind the screener in the three. They love to go to the box and diagonally out for a three.
Weems and Knight are their two best three-point shooters. Stanford is 2 out of 11 in the game. Knight, a very tough shot. And that's a three from the corner. Last chance for Utah. Knight got a hand on the ball. Johnson the steal for the win at the buzzer. No. Van Horn dropped it in after the buzzer sounded. And the Utes and Cardinal will go to overtime on an unbelievable three out of the corner by Knight.
As big as the three was, he's the one that got the steal to disrupt the push-up at the other end. Now, this is a little guy who's developed an upper body, and this upper body enabled him to make this shot, Sean. I would say 2 years ago, he couldn't do this. He doesn't have his legs totally, but the extra with the upper body, one to be remembered in Stanford history. But how about him? He's the one that got a piece of the ball that ends up with his deep one, and you can see, we didn't hear the horn, which signifies the end of the game, but the light came on later.
We'll come back for the overtime. Keith Van Horn, so he has fouled out. A huge development as the best player in University of Utah history goes to the bench.
And this is the down screen. I mentioned early in the game, he likes the screen. You got to stand perfectly still. And a little bit of a bump, but the reaction by Knight got the officials' attention. I think I would let him play on that one, huh?
Rick Majerus restrained by Donnie Daniels, his assistant. He was in the face of Frank Scagliotta and waving a finger at the official. After Van Horn was whistled for his 5th foul, he leaves with 25 points and 14 rebounds.
You know, I'm not suggesting that Metala becomes the heir apparent to Van Horn, but he's got those types of abilities offensively, and Van Horn was given a little pep talk going out the floor. They're going to need some offense. They've been struggling at that end of the floor.
First time Van Horn has fouled out this year. Meanwhile, Nate Knight has played more than 13 minutes with 4 fouls. And that's his first free throw miss of the night.
They've hidden him. They've disguised him defensively, Brevin Knight. Been able to roam around and not be involved in the action on Miller.
Stanford's first lead of the game came 34 seconds into overtime. And now Utah forced to play the OT without 2 starters, most notably Van Horn, but Caton is fouled out as well. It's Hanson to Miller with Doliak, Metala, and Johnson. High-low. Doliak, nice feed by Metala, and the Utes take a 1-point lead.
They got confidence in that play. Good big guys can see the vision to get it over the top.
Metala stepped out on Knight, leaving Sauer open. Rebound Doliak.
And they have not been able to convert that. That's the first real good look Sauer's had on it.
He made that exact same shot in a couple of key spots down the stretch in the win over Wake Forest in round 2. Well, Bill, without Van Horn and Caton, if you're Utah, do you try to run the shot clock down as many times as you can on offense?
I think they're struggling on offense. I think they got to run their stuff. I think they got to go power game. I thought they should have with Van Horn. They're trying to set it up now.
Miller has been huge, and he continues to be just that. 16 for Miller. The Utes, without Van Horn, have taken a 3-point lead.
Well, if he takes over, you may have to put Knight back on him to contain that penetration.
3 minutes left in overtime. Neither team has played an overtime game this year. 3 by Weems.
Boy, did he work. He decided on that side. They had a double on one, a single rub on the other.
(71-71).
They got a double choice here. Nice catch.
Madsen called for the hook as Doliak was getting ready to accept the pass. And Clemson has fouled out. So it's a battle of attrition. Young and Matson, a couple of the big bodies for Stanford, are out on fouls, as are Van Horn and Caton of Utah.
And there's that great penetration, the ability to find the seam, create. And here's a great three after a double on one side, a single on the other. And all game long, Utah's done a nice job reacting to that particular play. But late fatigue sets in and different bodies on the floor.
Goliak has been strong from the line. Under 3 remaining in San Antonio. Minnesota has gone back up by 5 over Clemson. Clutch free throws by Goliak. He is 10 out of 10 from the line. 2.5 minutes left in overtime. Midway through the extra session, Utes by 2.
1-4, they like to turn the corner and find somebody.
Knight turned the corner. He ran into Hansen, and that's 5 on Hansen. So he is the 3rd starter to go out on fouls.
So difficult to contain Brevin Knight. And then when they put everybody baseline, Sean, he loves to initiate some contact. He'll go to the guy, and that's from playing a lot of tough playground basketball. You search the body and then try and get to the line.
So the freshman David Jackson will come back in for Utah. Hansen leaves the ball game. 3 starters have fouled out. Caton the first to leave, then Van Horn, and now Hansen. There's Jackson. So it's Miller, Jackson, Medela, Goliak, and Johnson on the court. 3 freshmen. Under this intense pressure for the Utes. Knight makes it a 1-point game. He's 11 of 12 from the line. Tied again at 73.
Still a matchup at the point, Lee and Miller.
Majerus wants a 20-second timeout and is granted a timeout. He has no 20s. The Utes credit, they squandered the lead at the very end of regulation. They're badly undermanned here in overtime, but they're matching the Cardinals score for score here in the extra session.
Finding ways, and Miller is the main reason, the ability to penetrate, and Goliak shaping up. It's going to be important, the post-passing and the three-quarter defense of Stanford. They got to get in front, deflect. Sauer giving up that post-entry.
Medela guarded by Sauer.
He's got some moves. He's confident. You can't let him catch it that easy.
The freshman from Helsinki puts the Utes back up by 2 under 2 minutes remaining in the first overtime.
Little double screen now.
Johnson, tough set for him, but he guarded Knight well. Knight thought he was fouled. Johnson, the defender, came up with the ball off the glass.
And he may have been initiating. He's lucky maybe in a way he didn't get the foul. Went body searching.
Knight has played nearly 17 minutes now since picking up his 4th foul without getting nailed for the 5th. Utah by 2. Medela, bodies fly, blocking call against Stanford. It's on Sauer, and that's his 4th.
And a nice call by Ted Hillary, too. He did try and bait the official into that. Mike Montgomery, that little move of Brevin off the basketball, playing Miller, kept him in the game. And here is the football.
You bet we'll keep your game up on the line, but let's send you out to Midwest and take a look in on that. 20 seconds left. Minnesota at the line. They lead 71-68 over a tough Clemson squad. Tim Ryan, Al McGuire, courtside.
By Clem Hutchins. Clem Hutchins is playing Clemson. Clem Haskins.
You're excited. 20 seconds left. 4-point game.
I get it. You know, it's the coaching
You're coaching
blood.
2 teams. I mean, it's pretty difficult.
The coaching blood gets back in you.
It's tough enough to coach one. You're coaching them both there. 20 seconds remain. A 4-point game.
It's a 3-point lead for Utah. 76-73.
Show early on Knight.
Lee, long as Miller contested a 3 and got tipped out by Jackson to Johnson. A couple of freshmen in the right spot. And now the Utes with a minute to go in overtime of a 3-point lead in the ball.
Weidman. Beautiful tap in by Weidman. That good inside position.
He has had 3 huge baskets tonight, including the buzzer beater at the half that brought him to 5. It's a 2-point game again.
All right, Minnesota leads by 2, 72-70, and we'll keep you posted on this. There's 8 seconds left in the contest. Let's go back to Utah-Stanford now out in San Jose, and Sean and Bill.
Arthur Lee of Stanford fouls out with 48 seconds left in overtime. He leaves with 11 points. And 2 rebounds. And here's David Mosley, the freshman, who's seen spot duty tonight.
And he's a guy that Rick mentioned to both of us. He's concerned about Mosley. Very active kind of performer.
2 free throws by Miller. Even with 1 out of 2, he makes it a 2-possession game. Andre, 2 out of 5 from the free throw line. 57% overall for the year.
Inhale all the years of practice. Just be comfortable and confident.
1 out of 2. It's a 4-point game. 48 seconds left in overtime.
Got to help on Knight now. He was got to pay attention. 1-4 look.
Knight, nice bounce to the baseline. Sauer the bucket.
What a creative move. The kiss at the end by Sauer.
And the quick foul applied by Weems on Miller. There's only a 4-second difference between the game clock and the shot clock, so Stanford needed either the quick steal or the foul. When they didn't get the steal, Weems committed his first foul. How is it possible that he's played virtually the whole game in a game like this with so many fouls, and he only has 1?
He's avoiding the issue. But how about Montgomery's got the first 10 minutes? They had no concept of what Stanford was doing. They didn't recognize their team, but they hung tough. And obviously, Knight does step up during prime time at the second half.
Miller has made 2 in a row now. The lead back to 3 for the Utes. 35.3 seconds remaining.
The way he strokes that ball, it's certainly not Miller time on the foul line. He's hoping.
19 points for Miller.
Good shot.
Back to a 2-possession game. They doubled Knight out high. That's a 3-point try that wouldn't go from Weems. Rebound Johnson, fouled by Van Elswick. Jeff Johnson, one of those thrust into action with the disqualification due to fouls of Van Horn and Hansen and Caton, and he's made several big plays.
He sure had. David Jackson also got a piece of that rebound to slap it to Johnson. Pretty good reaction.
First free throw of the game for Johnson, 59% for the year. And that's way off. He hasn't been there much. Now 16 of 28 for the season. The freshman from Murray, Utah.
Can't say it's the altitude effect in some of these releases.
5-point game, 25 seconds left in overtime.
They're doubling up. Should open up an easy jumper somewhere.
Mosley had trouble on the handle. Top shot. He was fouled.
Ooh, what a giveaway.
All right, 8 seconds left in San Antonio. Minnesota leads by 2. Timeout in San Antonio again. There's 8 seconds, as we said, and we'll get you to the finish of that and keep our eye on that. Meantime, 20 seconds left in San Jose in the overtime, our 3rd overtime game in this tournament. Utah leads by 5. Let's go courtside once again to Sean and Bill.
David Mosley makes his first free throw attempt of the night to get Stanford back within 4. 20.4 seconds left in overtime.
On the clock, 2 ticks, actually. Let's go down courtside to Tim Ryan and Al McGuire for this finish.
Full timeout. They're out of timeout. Minnesota with a 20 and 2 fouls remaining. 8.2 on the clock.
Very, very difficult foul shot this time here for Quincy Lewis. because he came off the bench for ball handling the last couple of minutes. And this is what we call a gut check.
Sophomore from Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yep.
This is the first.
Now this is the big one, because this is the one that, because most likely Clemson will take a 3-point shot coming down because of the clock if he misses. So he makes this, the worst they can do is go to OT if he makes it. Missed it. Missed it.
4-on-2 break. At the buzzer. Overtime. Tony Christie, the sophomore from Hartford, Connecticut, off the bench, forces overtime. His moment on the stage.
What a great start to the Sweet 16 it has been. Stanford trying to foul and cannot. Great ball movement by the Utes, and they fouled Doliak, and he's the man Utah wants to go to the line. He's been brilliant from the stripe tonight.
All right, drama indeed here on a Thursday night in the tournament. Let's go to San Jose and show you the finish of that one. Utah is at the line. They lead by 3. There's 9 seconds left as you look at Michael Doliak. Let's go courtside to Sean McDonough and Bill Raftery.
They had put Jackson in Stanford to give it away. They just couldn't get coordinated.
Michael Doliak, one of only 2 remaining starters in the game for Utah. And he has made all the clutch free throws down the stretch. Utes by 5. Mosley. Utah has gotten over the hump. In their 3rd try under Rick Majerus, the Utes advance to the Elite 8. Terrific comeback by Stanford. They tied it on a 3-pointer in the final seconds of regulation. By the night of Stanford, 27 points and 9 assists. And Michael Doliak making many key free throws for Utah down the stretch. 16 points and 6 rebounds. The Utes will meet the winner of the game between Kentucky and St. Joseph's, which comes your way next. From San Jose, here's Pat O'Brien.
Send everybody out to San Antonio, where our other overtime game is underway in overtime. 4:15 left. Clemson leads 75-72 courtside with Tim Ryan and Al McGuire.
Charles Thomas will be at the line for Minnesota. 3rd personal on Terrell McIntyre. Clemson leads by 3 on the 3-pointer from their team leader, Greg Buckner, the junior from Hopkinsville, Kentucky. Charles Thomas at the line for Minnesota.
Charles Thomas is big time from the foul line, 79%.
Now let's go back just a few minutes here. You see the break on that missed free throw.
This is going into overtime. 5 seconds left. They broke away from the foul shot. Made both of them.
Charles Thomas made them both. Now what happened there? Buckner broke down the court after the miss by Quincy Lewis. And it was Tony Christie at the buzzer forcing overtime for Clemson.
He's due. I knew he was due. He couldn't make a shot all game. And every shot he put up was perfect.
Merle Code, who shoots those at 36%. 10 points in the game for Code, the senior.
Perfect form by Code.
4-point lead Tigers. 3:45 to go in the first overtime. Jacobson forced that 3-pointer. Rebounded by Weidman.
Weidman is playing the game of his life underneath. He's a big space eater under there, but he's bringing down the rebounds.
McIntyre driving.
McIntyre got away with a walk that time.
Jacobson hot from 3 earlier, now 4 of 10 for Minnesota from 3-point range. Buckner, who just hit the 3, starts to drive, his pull up for 2.
Buckner will carry the team on his shoulders. Greg Buckner.
6-point lead. We talked about the leadership of Bobby Jackson and Greg Buckner. It's Buckner's turn to shine right now. Jackson with the ball. 2:50. Remaining first overtime. John Thomas, Courtney James pulls his way in and hits. Courtney James.
He's been missing those shots during regulation.
7 points for him. He averages 8-3 a game. 4-point lead, Clemson. The 4 seeds from the ACC in that large entry. Ranked number 14 in the country. McIntyre driving, gets it back again. Misses from short range, and Jackson rebounds.
Jackson will blow by you if you move out of the post there. James is taking too much post position.
Jackson for Jacobson. Lots of room to shoot. Won't go for him. Suddenly Cole to Sam Jacobson. Rebound Weidman.
Jacobs shoots better when someone's in his face.
He was wide open and all alone. 4-point game, Clemson. Minnesota 29-3, the top seeds in the Midwest, ranked number 3 in the country.
They're making a little mistake here, I think, and I'm not second-guessing anybody. It's a little too soon to go for the clock.
Go ahead and second-guess it.
No, I don't like to second-guess. So I make my statement before they do what they do. A little bit too soon.
3-point try from Code off the mark. Rebound Thomas, John Thomas.
Jackson got to penetrate. Take him. He's going all the way.
Jackson off the glass. What a shot. 29 points for Bobby Jackson. He scored every possible way. 2-point game again. Clemson, 80-78. 1:10 to go in the first overtime.
Buckner, go down low in the post. That's where you're excellent at.
Cochimel, McIntyre. Here's Buckner working the outside on the perimeter. McIntyre, he drives. Never got the shot off. Grabbed by Minnesota. Jackson comes out.
Jackson, even the numbers aren't right. He's going all the way.
Nobody near him. Tied
up
at 80.
A little too soon. A little too soon.
31 for Bobby Jackson. Tied at 80. Under a minute.
Minnesota got to get the ball back, so no matter what happens, they're going to get a shot.
McIntyre, watched by Charles Thomas. Weidman. His pass intended inside for Buckner. Off the foot of Jacobson.
They want to get the ball in the Buckner, but that time he was guarded. Very fortunate it went off the foot.
Clemson ball, 28.6 to go, first overtime. Clem Haskins signals timeout.
18 seconds on the shot clock, so you got a spread of about 10 seconds. Plenty of time.
Bobby Jackson, he looks like the game just started. His facial expression never changes. He's so poised, so relaxed.
Plus, he's playing with 4 fouls, but now he knows it's now or never, so he's not pussyfooting around. When he came in originally off the 4 fouls late in the second half, he was pussyfooting around.
Tied at 80. Now the 20s are gone for both teams. Minnesota still with their fulls. Clemson with 1. Jackson has gone 12 and a half minutes now with 4 fouls on him.
Minnesota comes out man-to-man, not covering the man, throwing the ball in.
18 seconds on the shot clock.
Now Jacobson comes up and covers Buckner.
Into the corner, McIntyre's pass stolen. Not a good feed from McIntyre. Alert Minnesota play. Tied at 80, 13 seconds counting down.
Coach Clem says, go easy, do it yourself.
Jackson.
Wait another 2 seconds. Now do your thing, Jackson. Do your thing, baby.
Code all over him. Pulls up the jumper. Won't go.
We're in the second overtime.
Still to come from the West. St. Joe's in Kentucky. From here, Iowa State and UCLA.
Iowa State and UCLA were twice out here getting ready to come out. Twice they had to go back to the locker room.
Jackson, winner in the ball game now for Minnesota. Charles Thomas, Courtney James, and Quincy Lewis. Winner. Jumper in and out. James on the rebound. James wants to go up. Off the glass. No drop for him. Rebound by Lewis. Good. Foul on Minnesota.
Code caught a foul
Code,
in there,
right.
I think.
So the basket counts. Foul on Code. 2-point lead, Minnesota.
Minnesota's showing their space eaters down low. Then Lewis makes his last recovery, goes in, can get 3.
Another look at it. Weidman and Code go out for Clemson. Weidman comes in, pardon me, and Jamison goes out.
That's the 3rd straight foul that Lewis missed in pressure situations.
So McIntyre, Buckner, Rooney, Christie back in, and Weidman the lineup for Clemson, down 2. Buckner driving, no basket.
No basket. For the shot. Foul Minnesota number 20.
Foul is on Lewis. That's 4 on him. Quincy Lewis picks up his 4th.
Buckner knows if they're going to win, it has to be him to win. He takes a nice first step, was fouled before the shot. Will go to the line. Are they in the Super bonus?
Yes, they are, yeah.
So he goes to the line for 2 foul shots.
Buckner shoots 2. 72% from the line. Greg Buckner, the team leader, for the Clemson Tiger team. 4:17 to go in the second overtime. And Buckner missing that one, trying to gather himself again here. Every shot critical.
He won't tire. He's averaging 33 minutes a game, so he's used to playing a lot of basketball.
Makes the second. 1-point game, 22 points for Greg Buckner. 7 points above his season average. Coming up big in the big game. Charles Thomas. Jackson. This is Winter.
They don't want Winter to shoot. I was surprised he took the shot from outside before.
Bobby Jackson, they want him to shoot.
That's a 3.
85 to 81, 34 points for Bobby Jackson.
If Bobby Jackson isn't an All-American, I don't know basketball.
All Big Ten, all defensive Big Ten. Lewis with a nice step in to grab that pass. Quincy Lewis. Lewis, who missed the free throw that gave Christie the chance at the basket that sent it into the first overtime for Clemson. Makes a big play there.
Too early to be cute. They got to play their game, Minnesota. I mean by being cute, is not to be working the clock this early.
3:20 to go, second overtime. It's batted away from Lewis. He lets it go out of bounds. This goes off the hands of Clemson. Lewis played that smartly, protecting it. McIntyre was going to go back and try and steal it there. 3:13 to go. Christie goes out for Clemson. Jacobson comes in for Lewis for Minnesota. Code, McIntyre, Weidman, Rooney, and Buckner the lineup for Clemson.
Need to stop here, Tigers. Big time stop.
Jacobson. Missed it entirely, an air ball from Jacobson, who's really gone sour after being hot shooting the threes in the first half.
Well,
3:06 to go, second OT.
You live by the sword, you die by the sword. You know, he's good from out there, and that's his game. He had to let it go.
He's had 4 of 12 now from downtown, and just John Cole, Buckner. Watched by Jacobson. McIntyre. Weidman.
Free.
Code in the corner. Over Charles Thomas. James rebounding. Charles Thomas just bothered him enough with a hand in his face. Jackson, 2:26 to go.
College kids can't turn it on and turn it off. Once you go to the relay game or a clock game like this, you lose your momentum. When it's mathematically in your favor, fine, but you're in a 2-possession game here. You need another basket.
Under 10, down to 7. Jacobson, down to 4. Jackson, well short, an air ball. Grabbed by Charles Thomas, and a foul called. Consultation by the officials. They don't want to blow one here. Ball went out of bounds.
They said the ball goes to Minnesota. They're wondering now whether the shot clock went off before the play was made, because that last shot did not catch iron.
Right, exactly right. Possession arrow belongs to Clemson at this point. Let's take a look at it here. Watch the shot clock.
Here's a shot. He forced it. He only had 4 seconds. He had to put up. He didn't. It's an air ball.
Right. And Thompson had a piece of it. Then it was knocked out of bounds by Clemson. Out of his hands.
Now they'll call both coaches together. When you have a situation like this, they'll explain it to both coaches. You don't just talk to one coach. So the 3 referees are now speaking to Rick and to Clem.
Minnesota, 1:54 to go. This is Buckner. Code in the paint. And he travels.
They get too many head and shoulder fakes. We call it mambo fakes. By giving the head and shoulder fakes, he pulled his foot.
19 turnovers.
Clemson has to be more aggressive defensively here. Even double team on Jackson to create the clock.
Charles Thomas. McIntyre sticking to him like glue, forces him back to the perimeter. Jackson, 13 seconds on the shot clock. Good pickup there by Weidman. He read that pass, got a hand on it.
They won't get a new clock. They'll stay at 8. Coach Clem is telling everybody 8 seconds, 8 seconds.
1:20 on the game clock.
Nice double screen for Jackson.
Charles Thomas. Thomas forcing a shot. Iron only. Good rebound by James. He gets it back outside.
Now they'll spread out. Now they go what you call a beat pattern, a delay pattern. They'll spread out wide.
Down to a minute. Second overtime. 4-point Minnesota lead.
You almost got a trap out there. You can't let them take 34 seconds off again. Because we're looking at a 2-possession game, a 4-point spread.
Down to 10, down to 7. Jackson's pull-up jumper. Oh, man, can that guy...
Wow. Lift up the world, Jackson. Lift up the world.
36 points and a 6-point game. McIntyre.
Need a basket here, big.
Buckner for 3. Don't go for him. Picked up by Jacobson.
That's the first time Jacobson didn't shoot the whole game.
That's right. And Buckner fouled him. And that's 5 on Greg Buckner. What a night for that team leader.
I got to give him a hand. He's played
magnificent. The second half. I mean, he was brilliant in the second half. He leaves with 5 fouls. The junior from Hopkinsville, Kentucky, did everything he could do. 22 points, 2 rebounds. (87-81), 23.2. Sam Jacobson at the line. He has 28 points. Conley Jackson has been the scoring star despite struggling with his threes in the second half.
Jacobson shoots about 61%.
He needs to be farther back with somebody, standing on top of him.
Tim, that's a big one here because it makes it 3 possessions. You come down, hit 2 threes, you still need another
And
possession.
he gets it.
Now it's a 7-point spread.
The junior from Cottage Grove, Minnesota.
Looks like Tap City.
29 points for him. 3-point try by McIntyre missed. Weidman battles for the rebound. 88-81. Code in and out on his 3. Jackson rebounding and stepped on the line. Clemson has the ball with 8.2 left. And Minnesota is going to be glad to get to the locker room. What a battle from the Tigers of Clemson.
Coach Clem Haskins never lost his composure. Even when they slipped down, he kept it calm on his bench.
McIntyre, what a fighter. A 3 for him. Terrell McIntyre closes the 4 with 4.2 left. 17 points for Terrell McIntyre. We'll be back in a moment.
Bonds did a magnificent job. He's taken, to me, not great material and made it a great team.
No doubt. Barnes, a Naismith candidate, Coach of the Year award, one of 15 coaches in that category. He's done an outstanding job. He started 20 games at George Mason, at Providence, and here at Clemson. His 3rd year at Clemson, a record of 56-33. Charles Thompson at the line for Minnesota. 89-84. 5 points for him. Clemson took a 12-point win streak, beat Kentucky early in the season. McIntyre at the buzzer, and Minnesota has prevailed. It was
Last year, Ted Valentine, Tom O'Neill, Art McDonald are the officials, and Kentucky and White controlled the tip.
And Utah, Sean McDonough, Minuteman.